I said I wasn't gonna buy another 240. I said don't buy another 240, it doesn't make sense. And yet here we go. This looks an awful lot like a 240SX. 240s are like chips. You can't have just one. But this one's a little different. Hang with me on this. This one's a little different. I have a project in line for this. So the big news for this episode is not that I got my hair cut, which I did, but that we have a new project car for the channel. I know you guys love 240s as much as I do, so I want to do something a little different for this one. I've done SR20 swap 240s. I've had RB26 swap 240. And this one's going to be a little different. But before we dive into what engine swap I'm going to go with, let me give you a quick tour of this car, try and justify to you guys and plead with you why I had to buy another 240, and then we'll go over the engine swap. So here, check it out. This is obviously a later S14. It's actually got a KA engine in it, and it's running. So the story behind this car is that a friend of mine was accumulating parts for a swap, had this 240 for about a year, and recently, to my surprise, told me he was gonna sell it. And I obviously wasn't in the, well, maybe not obviously, but I wasn't in the market really. I was considering just being happy, not buying a project, and just buying a 350Z and enjoying it because I sold my Lotus. But after I sold my Lotus, I had an itch to get back into a bit of a project car. And this thing popped up at the right time. So it is stupid, stupid clean, which is why I could not say no. It's rare, and I'll even call it a unicorn these days, to find a non-rusted out. And I'm gonna show you guys underneath this car. It's ridiculous how clean this thing is. I just couldn't pass it up. And it seems like a great candidate for a swap because the chassis is, it's not mint, but as far as 240SXs go, it's pretty darn good. So bought it recently, and it's time to engine swap it, even though it has a running KA. And that kind of makes me sad actually, that I'm gonna pull a running KA, which these days, like everything has been swapped by now, but I'm gonna pull a running engine from this for no good reason other than it's not exciting enough. But what about when I tell you guys, or show you guys this? Does this do anything for you? There's an oil pan over here, which looks kind of peculiar. It says Sickie on it, if you guys are in the know about that. And we have a pair of headers, not just one header, a pair of headers. What could that be? What could that be? Well, yeah, it's V8 time. It's time to LS swap this car. Now, I've always wanted an LS swap 240. And what a better chassis to do it. Now, LS swap 240s aren't entirely new. You know, people do them. I'm not gonna say they're common, but I'm not gonna say they're rare. I'll say maybe they're a little more uncommon. But the gentleman that I bought this car from, like I said, was accumulating parts. He has a motor set. So he has an LS1. So I purchased the LS1 from him from a F-body Camaro. I also purchased the T56 Trans from him, which was also from the same car, and a bunch of Sickie swap kit stuff. So he maybe had 90% of the parts needed for this swap and just didn't have the time or resources or whatever to finish it. And that's hopefully where I'm gonna come in and take this thing over the finish line. I'm gonna show you guys a photo of the motor set right now. And the motor set is actually at a shop called Turning Concepts, who I'm partnering with for this build. And they are tearing it down, tearing down the top end, that is, because I think it only makes sense to, before you drop an engine in, to give it a little refresh. So this has a KA beating heart, soon to have a V8, and it's gonna have a cam in it. I'm gonna drop a BTR cam, stage 3 cam, so it should sound really good. Maybe like an intake manifold, stuff like that. I wanted to make close to 400 wheel. Nothing too crazy, but super fun, just hoonigan street machine. And that kind of actually, that leads me to my next point here. Unfortunately, the previous owner started gutting the car, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult for me to source interior parts. But actually, if you have S14 interior parts that you would like to sell, hit me up, because I want to return this back to as close to stock interior as possible. I don't want to cage it. I've been down that road. I've had cage cars. I just didn't drive them on the street. I want this to be a fun hooning machine. So those are basically my plans, guys. Let me know what you think. LS240, how could you not like it? But hey, it's not for everyone. And I'm gonna be doing a series on this build, so definitely stick around if you're interested in V8 swap 240s. I'm gonna be, everything from the engine teardown. I'm gonna be heading there next week to help tear down the engine and reassemble it. And then, dropping it in the car, getting it all wired up and all the stuff that goes along with that. So stay tuned for that, guys. Hopefully you'll enjoy the series. I know I will. And I'm super pumped to get this underway. So I appreciate you guys watching as always. See you next time.